Hello and welcome to Paper Plays Julie K.
Welcome to the October installment of the 2021 Craft Vault Collab hosted by Poet Spice. This collab is all about creating projects with older items in our craft vault or craft stash. Specifically, we are to use items that are older than 6 months, and I try really hard to find items that I've had in my stash for several years to use in this collaboration. There are a number of talented collaborators who are participating in this collab, who will also be creating all sorts of different projects with items from their craft vault or craft stash. I do have links listed below in the description box, so make sure you do open up the description box to find all of their links and see what they have been making this month using items from their stash. I also want to mention that this is a year-long collab and our videos are posted on the third Friday of each month, so make sure you do come back and check each month to see what we have been creating using supplies that we have had in our stash for a while. And so hopefully you guys are somewhat inspired by my project this month. I did go through my Halloween box of craft supplies trying to find some sort of Halloween or October themed item to work on this month. And originally I had pulled out some little pumpkin wood pieces. They were a set of 3 and it said boo. There were some pieces I picked up from Hobby Lobby and I got as far as painting them orange. And then my mojo just fell apart. I didn't quite know what I was going to do with them after I got to that point. So I dug out my Halloween box again and started digging through it. And that's when I found this little item. It's a Tim Holtz from the Ideology collection. It is a vignette tray and it's a coffin. He has some different little vignette trays and one of them happens to have been the coffin. I picked this one up several years ago at Tuesday Morning. And then once I decided on decorating this little vignette tray, I did go through my stash again and try to pull out some items I hadn't used or hadn't used in a long time. And so one of the items that I did pull out were these stickers right here on the side that I ended up gluing down, but I did use glossy accents just to make sure they stayed put. And those were from K & Company, and these are like metal stickers, and I've had these in my stash again for several years. Again, another item I picked up from Tuesday Morning. And so to begin this project, the tray is brown, and so I did start off by painting it black. And once I did that, I went over it with sandpaper, and you can kind of see I did rough up some of the edges. Some of the edges on the inside are also roughed up just to make it look a little more worn. I also then went ahead and picked out paper to line it on the inside and on the back. And the paper that I chose, again, is some paper that had been used or in my stash for a while. One of my very first junk journals that I showed, Halloween junk journals that I showed on my YouTube channel. I used a lot of this paper collection. It was the Arsenic and Lace paper collection from Echo Park, and it came out in 2014. And so I still had some sheets of that in my stash that I haven't touched for a long time. So I did pull this particular sheet out with the purple. I thought that looked kind of nice inside of this vignette tray. And once I did that, I also pulled out this background item right here. It's a piece of jewelry. Again, I used a small piece of this on one of my journals as a closure. And so I thought that would make a good base to put on some sort of sign. I also dug through my stash and I had some die cuts of some spider webs, and I'll show you those. They're actually store-bought die cuts from American Crafts, and again, another item that I picked up from Tuesday Morning, and these ones were actually $1.99, and this one was several years ago. So I did cut them up to glue down, so you can see I have one right here, here, and here. I also dug through my stash, and I have a ton of different metal frames, and this was a bronze colored metal frame right here. And I went ahead and also painted that black when I was painting the vignette tray. I'm not sure of the company of this one, but again, it was a set of frames that I bought at Tuesday Morning, and I've used several of them on my covers of my junk journals, but I still had this one left. I also went through my stash, and I had all these skeletons, and they are like more 3D. They're round, full skeleton heads, and I cut off just the top part so that I could easily glue it down inside of the frame. Also in my collection, I did find a lot of Tim Holtz. He has these little pieces, and I'm not quite sure what the what they're called, but this one says bone collector. And then I also added 2 little tag ones down here. This one says toxic, and this one that just moved over says bones on it. So I also incorporated those into my project. And then when I was going through my items, I did find some little glass bottles that I hadn't used that have been in my stash for quite a while. And I also found a package of these little bones. And those again are Tim Holtz. And so I did stick some of the bones inside of one of the jars. And then I also put a couple here over on the side. And then in this other jar, I just stuck some little green seed beads that I was given or gifted in Happy Mail, and I'm not quite sure who gifted those to me, but thank you to whoever you are. They worked perfect to put inside of this little bottle. And then the other item that I added also, you can kind of see, I do have some of this little spider webbing background stuff, and I purchased this a couple years ago to use as a background in one of the Halloween journals that I used. I had laid it out, I think, on my tag board just as a background thing, and I had bought it. It came in a set of like black and white, and I had this white one, so I just kind of added it in there to make it look like cobwebs. And then the other item that you can maybe see if I hold it up really close, I had these little mice, and they're little plastic pieces, so I added one right there in the corner. I also added one up here on top of the jar, and then you can see one right up here also on this piece of jewelry up here. So I had those 3 mice that have been in my stash for a while, and those actually came from the thrift store. I bought this whole bag for $1.25, and I picked them up because I do have a Christmas advent calendar that has the poem, "'Twas the night before Christmas and not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse." And I've been looking for a mouse to add into that little advent calendar. I put it out every year, but I just haven't found a little mouse. And this set that I bought, it was all these different types of mice in it. There's tiny little wood ones, there's a bigger one, and then these little plastic ones which looked a little more Halloween like, just because they had the big red eyes in them. But for my Christmas one, I was going to use these cute little wood ones that were in there. And so I had purchased this, and it's just been sitting in my Halloween stash for a while, thinking it might be something I could use on Halloween projects. So I was able to incorporate 3 of those little gray mice or rats, whatever you want to call them. And they do have those little red eyes, which are kind of creepy. So that is my completed project for this month. So hopefully I inspired you to possibly make some sort of Halloween project using items from your craft stash. And again, don't forget to open up that description box to check out the other ladies who are participating in the collab. And until next time, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day and happy crafting.